bobbins. This is a bobbin, which is what we put in the shuttle, which is what I throw back and forth on the loom. So this is how I prep the yarn. It takes a lot of these to make a weaving, so I wind lots of bobbins. So I weave a little bit and then I come back here and I'll wind some more, or I'll choose to change colors, see what I want to do next. So this is my loom. It is a very special loom. It's a TCT digital jacquard loom. But all looms really are a basis to be able to weave cloth. My loom is really special because I'm able to control all 2,640 threads that run across of it individually with my computer, every single row. And that's how I'm able to get so much detail into my weavings. Yeah, so what I'm doing is I am sewing the backing for the weavings. It is Velcro and a cotton strip, which is actually how most tapestries are hung at museums, which is a conservation standard. So what I'm doing is I sew the Velcro onto the cotton webbing, which then later goes onto the back of the weavings. This piece is a little bit different than some of my other works because it's 3 panels. So it was woven as 3 separate pieces of cloth that then come together to make a triptych. I was excited to have the image expand past sort of the limits of the width of my loom. And I was really sort of excited to see how the image progresses throughout the work. It's an image of myself and a friend in my yard right when I moved to LA. And I was really interested too in using this tone, this blue, to see how it could relate back to photography, because I'm working from the digital image. I take these photographs and then I program them before I weave them to sort of map out how to make this image engineered in cloth. And so this sort of blue, I wanted both to feel sort of like the shadows of the cactus, but also relate to the cyanotype. This piece is still in progress. I've taken it off of the loom, and now I am deciding where I'm finishing the edges. I'm going to move the fringe around a little bit. All the work up in the studio right now is fun because it's a little bit different. There's heads and no bodies in this one. But most of my work, the figures are headless, but with the work here, I've been thinking about work that's a little bit more narrative. And so faces have been in it, and I've been thinking a lot about the places too. This photo was actually taken of the plants outside of Lakma when I went to go visit, and I was really in love with the way the light was catching underneath the leaves and sort of the texture of everything around it. But I'm still finishing the cloth. When the cloth comes off the loom, there's things like loose threads from tensioning issues that I repair, and I start to shift things around a little bit. What I was also thinking was that I really wanted two views of the same image, sort of on the same plane, sort of like one eye and the other, and adding these little stripes of color to sort of make it pop. I was really excited about the expression on this piece, this sort of moment of joy and laughter, and thinking about all these plants that sort of surround the body as this sort of domestic jungle we've been making inside of our homes. It's part of like the party. The plants and the objects seem to like be interacting with the figure, and was really excited to have a bit of a color shift happening also in the work, just as like a little break. So with this piece and almost all of my work, first I take the photographs and then I digitally alter them in Photoshop. Not all of these objects are actually in the composition when I'm taking the image, and they sort of get collaged together to create the full composition before I break it down, figuring out the different tones and how to weave it. This is from a series that I like to think of as the intimacy weavings. This whole group of weavings is really this heart opener for me, and it's all these bodies where you can't really necessarily see the gender or their faces or what they're doing. It's all these different sort of moments in rest and in play. So this piece is titled Caryatid, and I was thinking a lot about statuary with this piece and contemporary statuary. So the figures are headless, and yet they still hold all of this power and all of this agency. You can try to gaze at them, but you can't meet their sight, but they can gaze back at you. I was thinking a lot about statuary and mythology and creating our own mythologies with contemporary bodies now. There's sort of hints of the moment, you know, there's tattoos. You can see the space that they're in with the plants and a bit of a floor. So they're in space, but there's still a lot of mystery to where they are. So this is a new series I just started about these sort of sirens and nymphs and these bodies in water. I was really excited about the rocks and how they start to fade into the fog or the ocean and these other spaces. And I'm really excited to see how the image shifts as they grow and as they become a little bit smaller, playing with scale.